Australian university student numbers have grown rapidly since the 1960s. In 2013, total student enrollments exceeded 1.3 million. There are around 900,000 and 300,000 of domestic and international students respectively. Most of the international students come from Asian countries, especially China. The university used to be places mainly for men. In the 1950s, only 20% university students were female. But later on, women enrollments have gradually increased to about 60%, which have become a majority of university students.
So how do we explain all this? The three big issues in education are class, gender, and ethnicity. The first issue is social class, in which the children of parents in higher social classes are more likely to continue into post-compulsory education, achieve examination passes when at school, and gain university entrance. The level of achievement of working class students has risen in absolute terms, but has changed very little in relative terms. Students from higher socioeconomic backgrounds are 3 times more likely to attend higher education, and the lowest access rate institutions are from the highest status group of 8 universities. Similar patterns are evident in gender. In Year 12, the average girl was outperforming the average boy in more subjects than vice versa. Gender difference in what boys and girls choose to study, with men dominating in engineering, science, and IT, and women dominating in the teaching and nursing industries, reflect gender binaries. This is also evident in terms of ethnicity. There is an overwhelming underrepresentation of Indigenous students in higher education. In conclusion, to quote Bowles and Gintis, schools do different things to different children. Boys and girls, blacks and whites, rich and poor are treated differently. Affluent suburban schools, working class schools, and ghetto schools all exhibit a distinctive pattern.
Culturalism emerged as a more holistic way to examine the multiple dimensions of education in order to analyse and address these three big issues. The general idea behind this theory is that students will bring pre-programmed ideas and ways of acting into their educational experience, depending on their background and upbringing. Pierre Bourdieu defined society as having a number of different fields. When the individual enters these fields, they bring with them their habitus, which is the amount and type of capital that the individual has. Cultural capital was very important to Bourdieu's theory and has to do with knowing the right cultural codes, how to behave in society, and what works in various settings or contexts or fields. For Bourdieu, the cultural capital of one's family background is crucial for explaining educational and social inequalities. Basil Bernstein's code theory is similar to Bourdieu's approach and explores the role of culture in social reproduction by analysing the dispositions students bring to schooling and the nature of the contexts and practices they encounter in order to explain the relationships between the two. What distinguishes Bernstein's approach is that he theorises the issues in terms of coding orientations and educational knowledge codes in a way that enables a structural and relational analysis. The 4 knowledge codes are knowledge, elite, relativist, and Noah.
For instance, many Asian countries such as China, Korea, Indonesia, and Thailand adopt knowledge code as their educational practices, which emphasize on knowledge and clear procedures. Therefore, Asian students in general are more comfortable in structured situations with precise objectives and detailed assignments. More importantly, Asian students expect teachers to be experts and have all the knowledge of particular subjects. In other words, they are used to teacher-centered education and passive learning. As a consequence, international students from Asian countries often face struggles in studying courses in Australia that represent a newer code, which emphasize active learning and expect students to create their own knowledge based on ideas and experiences prior learning. In contrast to knowledge code, newer code represents student-centered education. For example, as has been observed in University of Sydney, most Asian international students are hesitant in taking part actively in class discussion and usually only speak up in small groups. This is mainly due to different expectations in educational practices. In short, there was a code class.